Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the letter where Kylie is gonna show off Tio to the whole class. This can only end well.
It's gonna be great. No one else has a gazillionaire fairy godfather.
He's literally the worst.
She's not wrong.
He's the worst fairy godfather in history.
When I grow up, I'm gonna be exactly like him and marry someone really handsome.
We just had this conversation like 2 days ago, sweetie.
Let's rethink this.
Like Tia did. That way, I can be awesome too.
Is this Hana?
I think so. There's some sort of misguided logic in there that I'd like to correct. But before I can say my piece, douchebag steps in, fresh out of the commotion from the classroom behind us, and plows into the conversation with every subtlety a wrecking ball has. No shot given, despite no one asking for his opinion.
Munchkin, sweetie, trust me. You don't have to marry someone for that to happen.
I don't?
Just do your thing, darling. I'm quite sure you can do great things on your own without lugging around an extra baggage with you.
Wow.
Tia married you.
Kylie drops a statement without any sort of preface, and the moment it lands, the douche finds himself grappling with the conversation.
Yeah, well, that's...
Do tell.
Yes, please go on.
Do tell.
We're listening.
That's true, Munchkin, technically.
Technically. Yeah. Like,
She has a bajillion dollars too, by the way.
It's not the same thing.
do explain. A small frown creases the girl's eyebrows as she tries to comprehend her Tio's rather vague explanation. It's not surprising either when Luke tenses under the child's questioning gaze. It's familiar. I've seen the same look a great deal of times before on Ashton whenever he's trying to say something he can't quite phrase. Another second passes before the douche moves, kneeling in front of Kylie and placing both his hands on either sides of her shoulder. Kind is the last word I'll ever use to describe the man, but in this minute, there's a smile on his face I can't place, tender by all means for someone as obnoxious as him. It's a curious thing to see, if not a bit odd.
Listen here, sweetie. Tia was already a great person before she met me.
She is? But I don't see her doing anything. She's always at home.
Not always, Munchkin. Did you know she's really good at numbers?
You're good with them too. You helped me with my homework once.
Well, Tia's much better than me. She used to do maths with big numbers.
Oh, like millions?
No, gazillions. And she's really good at it. So much so that her dad let her manage anything that had to do with it. That was even before she met me, too.
Does that mean she's better than you?
Yes.
Oh, leagues, Munchkin. Way better than I'll ever be.
For some reason, I don't think he's still talking about his wife's mathematical prowess as his voice trails off. In fact, if I had not been paying closer attention, I wouldn't have noticed a change in him. A slight shift in his smile from one that's tender to something wistful, like remembering a memory he has always been fond of but has often kept to himself. And at the fleeting glance of it, a tiny insignificant part of the world somehow also shifts. Opinions changing, impressions improving,
You know what?
moving.
Why don't you ask Tia next time you have homework,
Okay, next time I'll ask her to help out.
See? No need to marry a good-for-nothing bloke.
Can I also tell her to not stay at home anymore? If Tia's good at it, I'm sure she can help you out too. And Papa. He computes a lot of numbers too. Tia can help him.
You go do that. I'm sure she'll love to hear it, Munchkin, even if it's been a while since.
Another silence from him. Then, without missing a beat, he turns Kylie around and lightly pats her on the shoulder in a gesture to end their conversation right here and there. Probably before he can say other things he's never intended to say or a child is not meant to hear.
Off you go first. I think I saw your friend run off to the other classroom. The one with the pigtails? Go say hi to her. You still have those jelly babies to give her, yes?
All right, but wait for me, okay? I've got loads more to show you.
I'd like to know why they call them jelly babies. I'm assuming they're jelly beans.
I guess.
I'm just
Question
curious.
of the day, what is a jelly baby?
They put up
I think
my
they're
drawing
jelly
on
beans.
the bulletin the other
Probably.
day. I'm gonna take you there later. I'll be back.
She soon disappears behind the small crowd, none the wiser to the sudden change in mood around her. Luke straightens as soon as she's gone. The expression on his face grows less kind now that there's no one to reassure. Despite that, a chuckle still escapes me. His head quickly snaps at me, an accusing glare clear in his eyes. Although it's less threatening now, considering what I've witnessed earlier. Funny how one person's impression of someone can easily change with that minute detail.
Why are you laughing like that?
Don't mind me. I just saw something surprising today. Don't let it bother you.
Putting it like that won't make me any less inclined to ask. What is it, woman? If this is another one of your threats, I've already told you it isn't going to work on me. That good teacher act isn't going to fool anyone.
What makes you think it has to do with you? I could have just remembered something funny. Not everything in this world revolves around you, mister.
I am not daft, Daisy. It's on your face for all the world to see.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Say it so we can be done with this stupid talk.
I let out another laugh. More to delay than to express any sort of amusement over the matter. In truth, I don't know where to start. One wrong move, one wrong word, and I might offend the man.
You've already offended him.
Shoot. Man. I feel like it's the top one.
I do too.
Yeah, look at that.
I didn't really care.
No. Well, then that happened.
It's Luke.
Well, regardless of how he reacts, it's not like it'll have any impact on anything between us. I have no plans of getting too friendly with that man, though he might have some good points. Emphasis on might. The best treatment I can hope myself to give him is to stop thinking of him as a sleazy douche. Besides, after seeing that look on him, I figure someone like him can use a little compliment here and there. He probably doesn't get it much considering how coarse his own language can get.
Can't you act a wee bit polite for even a second of your life? It won't kill you. You'll easily get answers that way, you know? Instead of demanding things from people like a temperamental man-child.
I'll be nice when I want to be, woman. Don't tell me what to do.
And here I was just thinking how you're doing a brilliant job as Kylie's guardian. Was I mistaken?
Was I mistaken? What? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Stop playing dumb. I hate to admit it, but you actually seem to be good with kids. Possibly even better than most of the teachers here. What do you know?
I expected him to just take it all in, bloat his ego more, and even brag about it. Instead, what I got from him is a sound resembling a squawk. Or maybe that's him choking on his own pride. I can't tell above the hubbub surrounding us. But when I glance at him, only a mortified expression is on his face.
No, you should be proud of yourself. At least there's this one good thing about you. Isn't that nice to hear? Pretty sure not a lot of compliments get thrown around about you, knowing how you are.
There are a lot of good things about me, Daisy. My hair, for one. There's also my extraordinary good looks. Wax lyrical about those all you want. I'd be happy to hear it any
He looks
day.
like a bratwurst.
Yes.
Praise anything about me but that.
What is so repulsive about it? Even Kylie likes you. Shouldn't that tell you anything about yourself?
Kylie is one kid, not even my own. Trust me, you do not want to see me bring a spawn of my own into this world. This will be an abomination.
That I think we agree with.
I'll point out that you will,
Well,
and it will be an abomination because you cheated on your wife while drunk.
wait. That was never proven, though.
I'm still pointing it out.
I don't know. I'm like, as this goes on, I don't know.
He didn't seem to deny it.
He didn't. No, but I don't know. I'm waiting to see. I'm reserving judgment on that one.
Is that what you keep telling yourself?
Maybe. Is it any of your business?
No. But if I didn't know any better, I'd say this is because you yourself think you're a little piece of shite and somehow it'll pass on. It doesn't work like that, by the way.
The last remark just came out. There might be a sliver of truth in it, but I shouldn't have phrased it like that. Even for my own standards or the kind of person I'm talking to, it's still quite rude. An apology is already at my throat, but the minute I open my mouth, all of what I've prepared myself to say dissipates, lost in the moment in front of me. He has turned gaze outside, staring at some point past the buildings blocking the view of the sky, equally lost in his thoughts. He's a vexing man under so many standards. However, in this moment, the morning light streaming from the window lends his features a certain air, softer, less severe than what he often flaunts. Might as well be looking at a different man. There's a tender note in his voice when he finds it, the words muttered under his breath, not intended for anyone but himself. Nevertheless, it reaches my ears, unintentional as it may be.
You're right. She deserves someone far better than me.
All that talk about self-worth makes some sense now. It isn't some profound knowledge he pulled out of his arse. It has come about because he's already been there, likely still stuck in the middle of it. Preaching about your own personal experience is easier, after all.
Is it because you're a womanizer? I mean, he picked up with, what's her name, Jen. What was her name? Was it Jen?
Mint.
Mint. At the bar.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. I think he's playboy.
He's still sleazy. Just how sleazy is still up for debate. Less room for mistakes, more for a dose of self-loathing. What a complicated man. Just when you thought you've already figured him out, he does one thing and says the other. People like him are the most difficult to gauge, far harder to understand. Yet it might be exactly for this reason why some are so easily charmed by him. It's the mystery that catches them, of wanting to find out what underneath that bravado. I won't count myself among those yet. His winning personality isn't exactly my cup of tea. But sometimes once you get a glimpse of what's beyond the machismo, empathizing with the man isn't such a steep hill to climb. If the comfortable silence we now share tells anything, that is. Perhaps this is as close to friendship as we can get. Several insults flung around with a few shared silences in between, and that's not exactly a bad thing. He's not exactly a bad guy either, despite the awkward start we've had. Maybe it's for this reason that I can't resist throwing in a little comment to lift his mood before leaving him.
No, Luke, you're not such a bad person.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I'm touched, Daisy.
Take it how you will. But a little attitude change would help. A lot.
Oh, bollocks. Right, of course. Let me know when you're done with your lecture, ma'am.
And you can probably start by not leaving your wife out while you're having some quality time with your goddaughter. Who knows? Maybe that'll help change how the child sees her.
Where did you even get the idea I'm leaving my wife out? Have you ever even met?
No, but I did see her with you two last time.
His indifferent expression quickly dissolves into a confused scowl while I meet it with matched perplexity. It has only been 2 days. Surely his memory isn't that
What?
bad.
When was this?
At the cafe. After you left, she was sitting right beside you. Kylie was at the back and you were driving.
Daisy, are you sure you haven't accidentally
She
hit
knows
yourself
no
with your
second
own
seat
book?
'cause it
Because
was
that
the
damn
ghost.
thing's
Yeah.
quite big. And I'm really getting worried about you. It has only been a few days, and concussions can be dangerous. I suggest you have that checked.
Well, you asked. I just answered. It's pretty rude to make her wait like that, by the way.
How can I make her wait when she's not even with us?
What?
It was just Kylie and I that night.
Now you're just pulling my leg.
Luke exhales long and drawn out, his impatience rapidly changing the companionable air around us. In the face of it, I tense. I've accidentally stepped into another minefield. Any chat I've had with him so far has been like this. Why this still surprises me escapes me, but above my worries of offending the man is my own bewilderment. I remember well enough what I saw that night, yet he says something completely different.
Wifey was out with Kylie's mummy that night. She wasn't with us. How do you think I ended up on babysitting duty?
But in the front seat. And Kylie's...
Miss Pink!
Uh-oh. Kylie's sobs reach my ears first, and then her familiar weight returns around my waist again. Hot tears steep through my blouse as she buries her face in it, her arms winding tightly around me. Luke and I briefly exchange worried glances, his own lips shut tight with concern. Her cries are soft enough not to attract much attention. Most of the visitors have been ushered inside the rooms by now anyway. Those that still linger, though, watches our little group with great interest and concern. If I don't get a better handle on the situation, I have a feeling Luke will start yelling at everyone soon. Kneeling, I gently pull the girl away from me, cupping her face and wiping away tears, creating little trails on her cheeks. Her mouth is drawn in a miserable pout when she peers up at me.
All right, Kylie. Calm down. What happened?
It's my friend!
That's a little too vague, Munchkin.
Let her speak, Luke. Who is it, Kylie? Melody? Or was it the other one?
Yeah.
Did the two of you fight?
She nods and immediately clams up after, letting her sobs communicate the story instead, or as much as her shaking shoulders can tell me. Right behind me, Luke gives a nervous huff while he shifts on his feet. He must not be used to handling children crying. What a wuss.
Sweetie, I won't be able to help you if you don't tell me what happened.
Seconds pass before she responds again. The tears are already gone when she finally musters the strength to talk, her cries subsiding to mere sniffles.
I wanted to give her the rest of the jelly babies, but she won't come out.
Where? Where is she?
In the little girl's room.
Is she still there?
Another nod.
What's wrong? I kept asking her, but she told me to go away. Career day's going to start soon. I saw the prizes Miss Alice will give us if we're good. She's gonna miss it.
Is that what you told her?
Yeah, she won't listen. She won't even take the jelly babies.
I'm
Her
concerned
baby
about the
too.
amount of treats and prizes we're using as bribery for good behavior.
Yeah.
Luke wanted to eat the red ones, but I told him it's not for him. Miss Pink, can you talk to her?
Oh, God.
Tell her to come out. And I'm
Yeah.
really
God.
upset with her.
I'm pretty sure it's not your friend in the bathroom.
Yep, I feel pretty confident about that. Just a childish argument then. Times like this, I'm glad I teach teenagers mature enough for petty squabbles.
I don't know. They're just as bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know.
God, they get
I don't know which is
worse.
preferable.
They get like cat fighty.
I do love being around children and won't mind having one or two of my own in the future, but it takes a whole different level of patience to teach several of them. I honestly admire my colleagues who willingly took the challenge. Normally I'll leave this for their homeroom teachers to fix, but I can't just ignore the imploring look she shoots me. That's another weakness I'll have to steel myself against before I ever think of having one of my own. For now, I give into it.
Tell me where she is, sweetie.
Sighing, I stand up and gesture for her to lead the way. Luke trails quietly behind us. Even with the small distance in between, his apprehension is palpable, understandably so. No one wants to be caught in the middle of a children's spat. But in the end, this is all just part of my job. I can't just shy away from it, can I? Kylie escorts us to an adjacent hall. At this hour, the corridors and the rooms lining its sides are empty. Save for the gentle rustling of leaves, the twittering of birds outside, and the tapping of our foot against the floor, the whole area stays eerily quiet. Not unusual, though. This is the part where the building reserved for club activities at the end of the school day, and with the rest of the school busy with another event, it's only natural for it to be this deserted. Come afternoon, right after class, it'll once again be filled with people. But for the time being, I focus on the toilets at the far end, heading straight for it. Luke stays behind, opting to wait for the end of this drama instead, obviously not wanting to deal with another person's kid. Also, it's the girls' bathroom.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kylie follows right after me, unusually silent as we approach the ladies' room. Sometime before we made the turn down the hallway, she stopped sniffling and started singing a tune under her breath.
Oh, God.
Falling down, falling down, falling down.
What is this kid's connection to all of it?
Down, my fair lady.
Probably to brace or calm herself, or maybe this is her way of preparing to pull her friend out of her sulk. It certainly reminds me of another person. I make no remarks on it, however. It's all part of growing up, they say. Let her learn. The door is slightly ajar when we get to it, and from inside, the sobs of a girl echo weakly, barely audible even in this kind of hush. I don't hear it.
Barely.
Now it's faint. Turns out Kylie's not the only one upset about this. Despite the situation, a smile forms in my lips as I call out to her friend.
Hello? Hello there? You're Kylie's friend, aren't you? Melody, is it? She's looking for you.
Children can be so amusing sometimes. Granted, they can be exasperating, especially around this age, but the endearing things about them outweigh those. All you need is enough level of patience.
Career day's about to start, too. You'll have to come out, or you're going to be really late for it. Miss Alice won't be happy if one of her kids isn't there. I heard she brought little gifts for everyone who'll behave. Don't you want to receive one?
However, her cries show no signs of abating. They only grow louder. Not close to a wail, alarming regardless.
Are you okay?
From where I'm standing, it sounds almost like she's in some kind of pain, and it's not impossible. They do that at times, hiding what ails them for fear of a reprimand. If it's like that, coaxing her out might be useless. It also makes sense why she chose the loo furthest from their classroom. Wasting no time, I gesture for Kylie to wait and amble towards the door calmly so I don't alarm her. At the same time, a distinct sense of deja vu hits me as I prepare the keyboard for another QuickTime event so we don't die. I've been in this position before, behind a door with someone crying on the other side. My calls ignored as their cries grow into a wail. Just this past week, actually. Even so, being in the same situation before doesn't bring any comfort. I'm putting up for the child beside me is the thick undercurrent of worry trickling into my stomach. I take one last breath and I nudge open the door. It all happens in the span of a second. I don't make it past 2 steps into the room. Her cries abruptly stop. Light footsteps shuffle behind me, coming to a halt at the door. Oh God, she's behind us. My heart skips a beat, and when I turn...
Kylie?
Miss Pink? Miss Pink? Why didn't you help her?
My whole body becomes motionless at the sight of her, words catching in my throat and heart pounding rapidly against my chest. This is Kylie, I'm sure of it. Yet nothing in the manner she speaks or the way she tilts her head and questions carries the youthful, innocent vibes she always brings with her, as if I'm merely looking at a dead, hollow imitation of the child.
Did you hear her? She's asking for your help.
But it is not those that trigger a memory. It's those chilling eyes, calling, beckoning.
Why won't you listen to her?
All at once, the memory returns to me. A tide that has receded and now returns to shore with an overwhelming force, carrying images of a single moment from days ago. Of a world passing by in a blur of features I can barely discern under the little light there was. Not even a week has passed. In this minute, while I keep my eyes trained on the child before me, they return with such unbearable clarity. There are no horrid wounds this time, no blood streaming down a pale face, thank heavens. Just lips contorted into a smile, a small twisted smile. They brim with venom I've never expected to ever see in a child, sending tiny pinpricks of dread crawling up my limbs and winding up my neck. The music is intense.
I know. Ooh. You're a bad person. People like you deserve to die.
I can't breathe. Oh. Those whispers and laughters again, judging, mocking, taunting, each scathing word ringing sharp and true against my ears. My throat closes in, my whole body tenses. A chill settles at the tips of my fingers, every digit gone rigid from the cold. With every single draw of breath, any struggle for air or freedom, the coils wrapped around my body tighten, dragging me down. A gradual tortuous descent into another bottomless abyss. On and on and on, until I lose touch with myself and the world. Until darkness claims me and, unexpectedly, a note. In the distance, harsh and piercing, cutting through the thick stupor and shattering the haze without warning.
Are you ladies done with your business here? I'll have all morning to wait for you two.
My eyes snap open and the world shifts into place with a ragged gasp. When I glance up, a different set of eyes greet me.
Are you okay, Miss Pink?
No anger, no vile hatred in them, just plain sincere concern. Bit by bit, I become aware of my surroundings and myself as warmth steadily slips back to me. I've reached out for the nearby counter to steady myself at some point, and my knuckles have gone white from how rigid my grip on it is. It's over now, yet the tension hasn't left my body. My heart still hammers hard against my chest in an erratic rhythm, and my breathing still comes in short, shallow bursts. Before me, Kyle fumbles with her hands, utterly unsure of what to do to an adult in what's probably a laughable state.
Did you get sick? I'll call Tia, okay? Just stay here and don't move.
No. No need. Just leave me alone.
Tia will know how to fix you.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
okay?
I wish I can speak reassurances to her, but I can't shake it off. The dread is there, twisting at my insides in anticipation. Of what? I'm no longer sure. Pushing myself off the counter, I break off into a run. Brushing off the anxious look Kylie gives me when I gently push her away and on my way out, or the furrow on Luke's brow when I stumble into him outside. And we'll just have to pick this up in the next episode. I thought for sure we were going to have a quick time event.
What is up with Kylie?
Yeah, that's weird that it's like the second time that it's used her.
Has she seen the letter, or I don't know. I just want to know what's going on.
I know. Getting intense. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.